No.
Mm-hmm.
So who is Tim Roosevelt?
Tim Roosevelt.
God asked me who I am, so I'm here to answer. I love to make music without the stanza. When I'm alone, I like to groove, but I'm not a dancer. At times I'm really scared, but I'ma still throw my hands up. I love my family, regardless of the fuss and fights. Love them all, thanking God she helped me see the light. Proud to be a father, really love my daughter. I miss my baby mama, who would I be without her? I could cry right now when I think of Lila. That was my older sister, indeed I really miss her. But I don't want to keep on talking about my family. Every day I'm fighting hard, comfort and insanity. No such thing as randomly. Cards that they done handed me, searching for a Q&A but asking for it candidly. Who am I? A question that I struggle with. Sometimes I think I know, but then I really don't. Oh my, what a tangle web we weave, feeling severed when I think, clear my mind, but that's a tall order. Who am I? I think I answered it, well, sort of.
Well, in all honesty, it's just a combination of my first name, Timothy, as well as my middle name, part of my middle name, Roosevelt. But beyond that, as far as like what it is, what it means to me, the name, because for a long time, a lot of people more so know me as Forever World on the internet, talking about like anime and manga. A lot of people know me for the last 13 years as like a pioneer of sorts of talking about pretty much all of the finest things to come out of Japan when it comes to comics and cartoons. But where I'm at in life right now, I needed a change, and I think change is very important to anybody to continue to develop on their journey. If you don't change, if you stay stagnant, that's ultimately going to be the end of you. So Tim Roosevelt, not only is it, you know, from my birth name, but it also means a lot to me in terms of where I'm going with my journey. And it's kind of like, I don't know, I guess you would say like a superhero type of name. Like, that's my identity when it comes to Tim Roosevelt is here to save the day, you know?
Okay, people, it is day 0 of working on the Tim Roosevelt project. I'm about to go drive over to this new studio that I'm about to check out, see if I could get some of the records redone, because pretty much the album is already written and completed. I am working on new songs in the meantime, but for the most part, the album is pretty much done in terms of like what I want to be on the album. Got a lot of records, but yeah, we're gonna remake them for studio quality, better bass on the vocals, all that good stuff. And yeah, I guess I'll check back in when I get to the studio, but a little nervous, I'm not gonna lie. Well, we'll clear the nerves on the way there. Until then. Yep. You don't even know yourself, but you care about others. Why don't you find out yourself who you are? Why don't you find out yourself who you are? Why don't you find out yourself who you are? You don't even know yourself, but you care about others. Why don't you find out yourself who you are? Why don't you find out yourself who you are? Why don't you find out yourself who you are? Now let me hear that back.
I was born in a small little town called Saba. Well, I was actually born in Fajardo, but for all intents and purposes, it was Saba because that's where I was really nurtured up for the first few weeks of my life. But then I want to say it was around maybe 5 weeks into me being born. I might be totally off. My mom would kick my butt right now. But around 5 weeks into it, into me being alive into it, like, hey, into the program, my mom moved me to Brooklyn, New York.
Change it all up by any means. Focus on the love, not enemies. If you don't, you be stuck for like centuries. You see growth, but it doesn't feel like enough. If you're looking like that, boy, that's a joke. Focus on the wrong aspect. Ask just how many people that you know ever saw growth. Even just a little, like Malcolm in the middle. Looking at the stars from the car when you're little. Problem is, different age fall from a riddle. Even when times get hard, gotta show up. Sure enough, keep it pushing, no time for hold up. Homie, you a grown up, gotta be grown. Your bullshit gotta be owned. So when the times get hard and your mind feel gone, you can remember forever, you gotta be strong.
Then give or take the next 13 years or so, I was raised in Brooklyn, New York, up until a certain point where my stepdad at the time decided he had a great idea. Let's move these Brooklyn kids on over to the middle of Columbus, Ohio. Let's do it. And, you know, kind of having that blend of being, you know, from the tropical Puerto Rico, raised up in the mean streets of Brooklyn, and kind of molding, I guess, the latter half of my life here in Columbus, Ohio. It gave me different perspectives on life. It gave me different, environments. A lot of people, they barely, in the world, a lot of people barely leave their city street, their city block. So having the opportunity, for better or worse, because, everything wasn't all hunky-dory, to say the least, it allowed me to see the differences, and like, life isn't only one thing. A lot of people, they only know life as, that's my city. My city is life. Going from being in my city, Brooklyn, and then seeing, well, wait a minute, over here in the Midwest, life is totally different. When I first went to school over here, I'm here like, I got the fresh Jordans, let's go, let's see what everybody's rocking with. And like on first day of school, this kid, I'll never forget, he was wearing like this big white shirt with just ketchup stains all over it. And I was kind of shocked. And, at the time, being younger, I was just kind of like laughing, like, what the hell is this? But in retrospect, I think it gave me a little bit of clarity later on in my life of everything isn't always about the glitz and glamour. Sometimes it's just about living. And that kid with the ketchup stained shirt was a pretty happy kid. He probably didn't really need the Jordan and the name brand clothing or whatnot. I think he was pretty content with himself. So, being all over these couple of parts, it really just crafted the person that I am.
Way before COVID, ancient but still a story. Save the sorry Missouri, hated the allegory. Boy, that was brutal. 223, it was apartment 2L. It was like they sent my ass to hell, or maybe it was heaven. Guesses in the perspective. We took way more though. We wanted more though. Had I known back then what I know now, I couldn't change a single thing, homie. I was just a child. The cards that we dealt.
Ooh, my biggest artistic influences. Well, in terms of the worlds of the arts, so to speak, like I said, I come from talking about a lot of different Japanese comics and whatnot, and they have shaped me in different ways, which kind of affected in different ways even my music. But creators like, of course, Masashi Kishimoto, the creator of Naruto, Akira Toriyama, creator of Dragon Ball, Shinobu Otaka, creator of Magi, Kentaro Miura, creator of Berserk, like them just in general give me like different, I guess, all of their creations, these series, Berserk, Naruto, Dragon Ball, Eiichiro Oda's One Piece, just kind of gave me different ideas of what art looks like, because art to me is like, it's everything and one and nothing all at the same time. So those were as far as like that aspect of me. Then musically, I've had several different journeys throughout music. Several different people have been very much so influential in my music creation. People like Joe Budden. He's a retired hip-hop artist. Now he's #1 podcaster in the world. But his music tapes was just very impactful to me. Charles Hamilton, who I had the very controversial meeting with back in 2000 and I think it was 18. Alright, so again, we with Charles Hamilton. Probably gonna be dropping some tracks and shit like that right now. We're just kicking it. About to be crazy, bro. This is Sonic meets Goku right now. It's about to be lit. I'm hype. I hope you guys like what we about to do. Whatever. Been a big fan of his 10 years. So
and it's like this is not a game. This is like deeper than reality. You know what I mean? And like, if you've been listening and you've been following, thank you. But understand, without anybody listening, like, and then we get right around here, like, even if I didn't have the divine around me, it's like, know what I gave up in order to continue to believe. Without knowing, like, you're really singing along to death wishes, and you're putting yourself in a death wish. You understand? Like this is not a, yo, like you straight up, like you can't say, hey, well, I fucked up. I'm calling you out. As a musician, producer, things, all that. Like
his style, just it felt like it was such a unique, different blend of. It felt like I was listening to hip hop and rock all in one, especially the way he would layer his vocals and stuff like that. To this day, you know, this project itself, a lot of that comes from the inspiration that I had from, you know, back in like 2009. I'm just walking at 12 a.m. through the hood with my freaking headphones, just listening to Charles. And so that was definitely major impactful on my music creation. Like, you don't need to follow the guidelines. You don't need to follow the same pattern as all these other people. You can create whatever you want. And for many years, you know, that was just something that just kept on hammering into my mind of create the way you want. And then as I got a bit older, I stumbled into the artist Daylight. Massive influence on how I make music now, not conforming to what society tells me to be. So I should have been vlogging a lot sooner, but kind of been, you know, just enjoying the moment, so to speak. But I'm over here in LA, California for the Daylight versus King Bao event. More so hoping to get my Tim Roosevelt project into the GOAT's hands himself and make some major moves. See what we get shaking. Got my number one, my ride or die, the very own Princess Morgiana. Morgie, you want to say something to the camera real quick? No? You're relaxing? A little nervous, I ain't gonna lie, but that's okay. As long as you fight through it, then, you know, it is what it is. You can't help it if you're nervous. If you're nervous, you're nervous. You just gotta put yourself in a better mind state and keep pushing through and keep trucking, and yeah. So even beyond just artistry as a person, as somebody walking through this existence, so to speak, he just helped to craft where I am today and where I'm moving forward. My favorite medium, well, I have a couple of different favorite mediums. Like I said, I love anime and manga. I love music, but I don't listen. I'm very particular with the music I listen to, and by no means am I saying that as far as like I narrow down, because I have a very broad listening base. I listen from anything from, you know, hardcore West Coast music, A Room Full of Mirrors, Daylight, all of them, you know, Kendrick Lamar and stuff like that. But then I'll listen to some Louis Capaldi. You know, I have a very broad base, but I like to listen to music with a meaning. I think music, it is so much more impactful when there's some sort of message and trying to understand what even the artist is saying in the music. You know, sometimes, especially when it's very abstract and vague. You know, I was just listening to Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly, another whole listen through. And at the end, he's having a conversation with Tupac. And it's kind of, I think, cuts and pieces of an interview that he had with, or an interview that Tupac had from back in the day. And it was regarding, you know, the metamorphosis from a caterpillar to a butterfly. And there was something about the last line where he was asking Tupac, and, you know, Tupac kept responding, but the last part of that, Tupac couldn't respond. Obviously, Tupac has passed away. Rest in peace to the legend. But I'm even right now still sitting here thinking, like, what was Kendrick trying to get at with that? Was it that he was saying that Pac, as a butterfly, can no longer communicate with the caterpillar? Or it's just such a beautiful thing, and that's one of the things why I love music and appreciate it so much. Again, I love anime and manga a whole lot. You know, beautifully done page of a manga chapter really can get me going. Again, 13 years talking about it, just in general, art as a whole.
All right, so it's officially day one of the Tim Roosevelt project. Yesterday was day zero. I'm headed back to Weird Music Studios to continue working on the project. We got a 5-hour session booked right now. It's about to be 8 to 1. Oh yeah. I say that with that tone because I don't know if I overdid it at the gym today. I don't know if it's because I'm cutting down on my caffeine intake, but I got a massive migraine and I'm about to try and get this done. I'm thinking probably go back and, not probably, we're gonna go back and finish the day one's mix.
Tired of losing people I love to this drug shit. Used to be a war on drugs, turned into a war on us. The jig is up, I see what's in the plot. They glorify the hustler spot, tear the fiends down. But look at where the hustlers and fiends now. Scales and syringes mean nothing when they in the ground. And no one seems to care, like everyone accepts. Like a set in stone, wait until your home is affected by the fentanyl, then you're gonna know. Suboxone ain't the cure, that is just another drug. Only difference is we'll set the laws, gavel with the judge. They don't give a fuck, they just wanna get rid of us. Yes, it's this, so my day one's gotta be clear. Still moving
I'm really trying my best to keep it going and stand strong. I hope if anybody watching out there, whenever you watch this, see this, you get inspired that, you know, there's no right now as it stands guaranteed monetary gain from this. This is all me walking by faith, and I'm very scared. Just in general, you know, a lot of sacrifices have been made up until this point in terms of sleep, money, time, you know, the blood, sweat, and tears, so to speak, because tears is basically you bleeding. But yeah, I'm gonna try. I'm not gonna try. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get through this.
I find inspiration from everything, anything and everything. Sometimes I could be having the most difficult time with kind of just feeling almost like a roadblock of, I don't know how to get through this particular part of a song that I'm writing, or, you know, a comic that I'm working on, a storyline. And it could be my daughter running in the room and saying something silly that I'm like, oh my God, that's the sign right there. That's what it is. You can get inspiration from anything. A lot of people think that it needs to be this deep and philosophical thing. Sometimes it could be as simple as stubbing your toe. That can be the, you know, you saying ow is like, ow, wow, you know, pain. Pain comes in different forms. Like, it's just crazy that you could really get inspired by anything in life. And that's pretty much what you would call it, from a couple of weeks of just practicing 5 to 30 minutes a day. You know, I've been, you know, using like YouTube tutorials, pretty much anything I could get my hands on. And, you know, I've learned a couple of different notes. Right now, the note that I'm trying to actually not master, but just start to get a hang of is, because the finger placement is very important. Finger placement is super, super important to learning an instrument. This note right here is a little challenging because of the finger placement, but and then like you can move up, and then so that note is like a little annoying to figure out because of the finger placement. But where we're at right now, I'm making music. Art is 100 trillion zillion percent important to society, and the reason for it is because, one, whether it be, you know, if we're looking at it from a capitalism standpoint, art is how you market things, whether it be from the cover of a book, whether it be an album cover, like that album cover right there, if you could see it, yeah, maybe The Rise of Tim Roosevelt. But, you know, art, it goes into every piece, whether it be the design, the architecture. If we're going back to, you know, ancient Egypt, the Sphinx, things that we still to this day, from tens of thousands, God knows how old these things are, we still talk about them, and that's because of art. Whether it be a new chapter coming out of a comic book, whether it be pretty much anything, the clothes that you wear, how you put the things together, how you match up the colors or mismatch, or, you know, how I put my hat to the side, anything pretty much that involves creativity. And I'll throw the argument, maybe a little bit of love in it, because not everybody that creates necessarily is moving with love, but I think art in and of itself is something that is very deeply ingrained with love. There's a lot of things that motivate me to create, to be honest with you. First and foremost, it's just something that I enjoy. It's a passion. Creating something, you feel like, you know, whether it be drawing a picture, whether it be writing a verse, whether it be anything, I get a little bit of like a completion portion of me that activates, like, oh snap, I did this, wow, you know, I just did something crazy, I brought something into this world. And then especially where I'm at right now, creating, I feel like it's one of the best tools in an artist's arsenal to bringing change, growth, and overall healing people. In order to heal people, you need to be able to create tools in your arsenal to be able to utilize these things to help people get to where they need to go. You know, we're living in times where a lot of people are hurt out there. A lot of people are going through things. A lot of people are struggling. And creating is one of the best ways to help people get through whatever they're going through.
How do you define success as an artist?
I think the moment you release your art, success is right there. I think success comes to you the moment you release something, because one of the things it's like a common saying that an artist is never really done with their work. That's why you even have big time artists like a Kanye West, just in general big artists out there that they, even after releasing their project now because of the streaming age, they are still mixing their project even after it's already out, and they're putting new mixes in and stuff like that. So the fact that the moment you release this project, it's like, you know, I can't take it back. I can't say erase your memory. So I think that in and of itself is a success. You know, maybe some other people, they look at it as, if I make $1 million, I'm successful. If I, you know, buy a house, I'm successful. And I understand those aspects. I think a lot of people feel that. But more importantly than anything, I feel success is completing whatever it is that you're putting forth. A lot of people say they want to do something. A lot of people have an idea. A lot of people want, but when you go down the numbers, it's like there are so many people that say they want to do something. There's less than that number of people that actually even start. There's less than that number of people that actually endure. And there's less than that number for people that go even beyond that, let alone to getting to completion.
What's up? What's up? Alright, in case you don't know who I am, maybe you never heard of me or whatever. I've been doing, talking about anime and manga on the internet for like 8 years now. Started in 2010. Talked about damn near every show that you probably could think of. And yeah, it's all love is love, live and livey. And at the end of the day, we got this. You're great, and you're gonna make it at anything you strive for because you got this. Love you guys.
All right, thank you.
And yeah, just making major moves. We never stop, you know what I'm saying? And if you love anime and manga, let me get a little bit of a hell yeah.
Does art help you in other areas of your life?
Absolutely. I think, you know, you need to be entertained. You need to have your mind occupied in one form or another when you're not busy on the rigorous aspects of day-to-day life of going through, whether it be work or, you know, raising your children or dealing with other aspects of life. You always need that little, it's kind of almost like a foundation. Anybody that considers themselves an artist in whatever fashion it may be, it's almost like a home that you can go to whenever things get a little bit too hectic, whenever life is just like beating you and there's just too much to handle, or just in general you need an escape. Art is always right there, like a little hut that you could just go. It's like, okay, I'm home now. At the very least, that's how I feel any artist that really loves it and is proud of their creations and wants to create the best things possible would feel.
How do you develop your art skills?
It's very funny because, you know, I mentioned it in a song. You know, they say insanity is repeating the same thing over and over despite change. But then at the same time, they tell you to repeat things over and over. You know, practice makes perfect. Keep on practicing, keep on going. Develop a taste for failure, because the biggest wins you're going to get is going to come from constant failures. When I first started writing music back in, you know, I was like 14 years old. You know, I didn't even know where a hook went or anything like that. I was grabbing beats from like big songs. I think like one of the first beats I rapped to was Lean Back by Fat Joe, you know, and you know, I was recording on a tiny little mic, and I didn't know about song structure. I didn't know about 16 bars. I didn't know about a bridge, a hook. You know, I didn't know none of that stuff. Fast forward now, I do. And it took a couple of hundred songs and a lot of work, you know, putting into it. But again, if you love it, it'll work out.
Okay, people, so it's the end of day 2 technically 3 days in of the Tim Roosevelt project. Did one of my favorite joints I probably ever done. I'm not even gonna lie, I'm really excited about it. And another really awesome joint. I ain't gonna lie, this project is just coming out so fire right now. I'm in love with it, and it's not even done yet. It's great though. Yeah, I just wanted to check in though. I wanted to keep this little thingy majig going, you know what I'm saying? I'm outside the studio right now, freezing, about to take off, head home, but yeah, I guess Tim Roosevelt project continues. Let's go, baby. Oh, this comes from Tim to you. This comes from Tim to her. Okay, let me stop.
You see right through those things, I see right through it too. You see right through the things I cannot say to you. You see right through those things, you see right through those things. You see right through the things I cannot do to you.
Have you worked as a professional artist before?
Well, what do you consider professional would be the first question that I would ask to that question. I mean, if you're going by society standards, you know, I put out my first album, My Beautiful Hell. It was produced by notable producers. It was recorded in, you know, professional recording studios. So I guess that question is just a little bit vague. And my question is, what is professional, and is professional necessary? I've heard projects that people have recorded on their phone and then had it sent off and mixed, and they're big established recording artists. So what is professional? The purpose or goal of my work as it stands right now is, if it sounds cheesy or corny, then that's your prerogative, but it's to help people heal, to help people grow, to help people change. I think the world needs people that actually genuinely care, and the world needs people that they're putting thought into what they put out into the universe. We're in an age where at the click of a button, you know, somebody could write a fart joke on Twitter or on a social media platform. You know, anything can go at any given time, and for the most part, a lot of these people haven't even developed to a point of being able to be cognizant of what they're saying and what they're doing. You know, everybody now has a platform to utilize at any given moment, anywhere. You know, you could upload a YouTube video, you could put out a post on Instagram, you could do whatever. And if you're not mindful of that, which most people really aren't, then you could be steering people astray. You know, I'm not perfect. I've made my mistakes in my time where I've said and done things that at the time you know, in retrospect, I was like, wow, why did I put that out there? You know, I probably steered somebody wrong to think that's the way to move and whatnot. So, you know, getting to where I'm at right now is like, even if everybody is still not really caring about what they put out there, so what? Then I'm going to be, whether it be one of one, whether it be one of many, I'm going to put my best efforts to make change. Because if you know the saying, if you want to see the change, be the change that you want to see. And that's what I'm going to do. I want to heal people. I feel like music is, to a certain level, medicine. You know, you listen to a sad song, you'll cry, right? You listen to a happy song, you might start dancing and grooving and shaking and being like, oh lads, I'm having a blast, mate. You know, you might get in a happy mood. You listen to something, it might open and broaden your perspective on things. Depending on what you're listening to, it might shape your day. So why not be the person that, okay, I'm going to put out these records, I'm going to put out songs that is going to address the pain that you're going through, and also give you some sort of solutions, at the very least some sort of outlook on, hey, you could look at it like this. You may be broken, but after a certain point you gotta let go. You may be going through something, but you gotta look at it that life is gonna balance things out. So above anything, I guess I would say I'm here to heal. Respect the healer. Yeah.
Let's try this. Tim Roosevelt, baby. Let's do it.
I'd hope that my work can help to affect societal issues. You know, there's a song that I feel is one of the most underappreciated songs. I mean, it was a hit back in its day, but it's a perfect example of how you can affect society, and even in the smallest ways, which I think it's the hugest ways, to be honest with you. I Can by Nas. It's a very simple, you know, catchy hook of I know I can be what I want to be. And that right there is motivating the little kid that, you know, maybe didn't have any goals. Maybe he's going home to a broken home. Maybe he's going through a lot of different things and we don't know what that kid is going through and he has no hopes. Now he hears that song. Now he feels like, wait, I don't have to follow what my cousins or my uncles or my father or any of their footsteps, because I could be more. You could be broken, you could be messed up, but this can inspire you to move past that, grow from it, learn from it, and become a better person so that you don't continue the cycle. A lot of people, you know, I once seen this chart and it was like, good person meets bad person messes up good person becomes bad person meets good person. It's like a vicious cycle. And I feel like my project can teach people and help people to understand that you don't need to be a part of that cycle. You can actually stop the cycle. You can address these issues and heal from these issues and break the chains of bad, toxic cycles of life. My beautiful daughter, Morgiana Lynn. So, what's your name?
Margie.
So, when's the first time you remember hearing Daddy's music?
Since I was 5.
Since you was 5. And how old are you now?
6.
You're 6? Wow. What's one of your favorite songs that Daddy's made so far?
Trying to find a letter because I'm thirsty.
Oh, the Big Mood song that I don't have on the album. Do you like making music? Do you want to make music one day?
Yeah. I already make one music with him.
You did? Oh, wow. Tell me about it. Go ahead. Tell me about it. Do you love Daddy?
Yeah.
How much do you love Daddy?
6,000.
6,000?
Yeah.
That's a lot of love. What do you want to say to the people about Daddy and his new album and all of that?
Dad's new album is great.
Yeah? Oh, that's cool. What is something really cool that you and Daddy do? What's your favorite thing to do with Daddy?
Go outside.
You like to go outside with Daddy? Yeah?
And we went to California.
What music did we go listen to? Who did we go meet?
Daylight.
Yeah? We met Daylight?
Yeah.
Ah, thank you for coming in and talking about Daddy's album.
Look. Piano.
Alrighty. In my 13 years of creating content on YouTube, for example, I partnered with pretty much every major anime distributing company at one form or another, from Funimation to Crunchyroll to Sentai Filmworks. And for the most part, a lot of it is just being yourself, because being yourself, if you bet on yourself every time, that's the best bet that you got. If you are being fake, you only can fake it for so long, and then you're going to run into people that are not your people. You're going to run into people that may not have the best intentions for you because you're not being you. I think being yourself is the best way to navigate through not only the artist industry in whatever format it is, just in general. Just being yourself is the best bet, because at the very least, even if you take that L, you took that L being yourself, and now it's going to better yourself, and now you got a little piece of armor on you from that L, so to speak, to navigate and continue on.
New day for the Tim Roosevelt project. My favorite project, baby. Now today begins what ideally will be the beginning of the end for recording the music for this project. And when I say recording, I strictly mean the polishing, so to speak, because every record that I've went to the studio, the big studio in space, so to speak, to record, has already been made by me at my home, quote unquote, studio. Pretty much is just to redo the records so that way they have that legit sound and all of that good stuff that we're looking for. But in terms of in terms of the actual records, they're already done. A lot of things have been coming to me of like, yo, this is something else that I really gotta say on this project. This is something else I gotta say on this. Because this project, as it started to where it's at right now, it's kind of morphed a little bit. And again, that might even be the version of the deluxe version, so you get the full-on experience of where I was going with this album. So you might get, again, that experience in the long haul or down the road. But initially, the concept that I really feel needs to be represented is more of what this album is even trying to say to begin with. And that's just in general about healing and growth. If I gave this album a title outside of the Tim Roosevelt name, because I think it's just going to be, I'm more and more loving Tim Roosevelt, but not necessarily from the aspect of what I thought I was naming it Tim Roosevelt for. I feel like this needs to really represent just Respect the Healer. Like, if I was to name this anything, it would be Respect the Healer, or Respect the Growth, or Healing and Growth, something along those lines. But again, I feel like that's who Tim Roosevelt is, because this is a new chapter in my life. This is why I'm going by Tim Roosevelt. For Neville World, most people up until this point in my life right now, maybe hopefully by you seeing this, the narrative has changed in general, and it's more so not the guy that talked about anime and manga for years, but it's the dude that broke out of the cycle of YouTube and talking about those things, and is now a full-blown musician and is doing his thing in that arena. But Tim Roosevelt is a new chapter in my life, and it's something that I need to really represent in all angles, or in all aspects, shall I say. And to do that, I gotta be honest with what this project really is. Initially, I felt like, okay, this is Tim raising the veil to success. Tim rose the veil. And I feel like in certain aspects, this project is that, because I am raising the veil on how you can go from, you feel like you're stuck in this cycle, stuck in the grind, and this is how you get out of it. This is how you make it where, you find an exit, so to speak, from that hamster in a wheel lifestyle. So that's a part of it. But again, I would be limiting the scope of what this project really needs to do for not only myself, not only my family, but for people around the world, people that are struggling. They need to be able to see growth. They need to be able to experience growth and healing. And if I don't represent that in more of a facet, down to the artwork, then I'm not doing this project justice, and I'm not doing this project the service that it needs, and doing the people the service that they need. So it has to be more on the lines of growth and healing. And where do you find growth and healing at? Nature. You're probably like, nature? But maybe you're not. Maybe by the time you're seeing this, you're already seeing what the album cover looks like. Initially, the album cover that I got right now, already done, is me raising the curtain, so to speak, behind me with an audience and space on the left, of just kind of raising the veil to success. Like, that was the concept initially. But again, as I've been embarking on this journey, as I've been growing, as I've been healing from my own traumas, using the medicine of music, it feels more natural to take it back to nature, and or not take it back to, bring it forth, bring it to the present, bring it where it needs to be, nature. So ideally, I want to have a cherry blossom tree or some type of beautiful nature behind me with a rose. The color of the rose is still to be determined. I'm leaning either between red or pink. I think there's pink roses. I gotta look more into that. Again, I'm doing a lot of research on every aspect of this project. But Tim Roosevelt, you know what I'm saying? To keep it very simple, This is the growing and growth of the rose that is Tim, the flower that is Tim, the being that is Tim. You know, I kept Tim so long, you could even argue in captivity, because I constantly just felt like the world doesn't want Tim. The world doesn't, you know, rejects Tim. So I gotta be Forever World. And I let Forever World run rampant. And don't get me wrong, Forever World did a lot of great things for my life. It's the reason I'm able to even create this and get to this point of becoming Tim Roosevelt. But I let Forever World rule the spotlight for 13 years pretty much. Like, sure, Tim would poke his head out every now and then, but every time there'd be a heartbreak or every time there'd be something wrong, Forever World would come through and be like, yo, just get back in. Just get back in the metaphorical or even literal to a certain degree cage. Get back in there. And so now this is me allowing Tim, like, okay, dog, now it's your turn. I did 13 years. Forever World did 13 years. It's time for Tim to take the wheel, so to speak. We're almost north, baby. And the path has been rough. You know, the school of hard knocks has been one hell of a journey, but we're almost done. We're here.
I don't follow trends. That's one of the things. There aren't really any art trends that I tend to look at. I mean, obviously some trends eventually ingratiate themselves into, I guess, whatever industry you may be. For example, auto-tune. You know, auto-tune wasn't really a thing, and then you get like an artist like T.I.M, you know, uses it, it becomes a trend, and now everybody uses it. But overall, I don't really indulge in it. Like, even when I use pitch correction per se, I use it, you know, in the more traditional way it was used before. Cher and T-Pain and Lil Wayne made it more of common practice to utilize it in a wordable way of, you know, hitting the notes in a different manner, opposed to, again, the traditional sense. But shout outs to all of them, because, you know, they revolutionized music in one form or another by doing it. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of trends. They're here today, gone tomorrow. That's the whole point of a trend. I'm trying to be here as a staple. I'm trying to be here today, tomorrow, and beyond. What do you think about your uncle's album here, this Rise of Tim Roosevelt?
I think they're good.
Yeah? What's your favorite song so far? Tell me about it.
Mama's Boy.
Mama's Boy? How does that one go again?
Time after time in my mind, it's a grind. Ride in my mind, all this time I can fly. Time after time after time after time, I give it a ride in my mind, in my mind, in my mind. Give it up. Love you, Mom. You've been through a lot. And I'm gonna give it all I got.
Time after time on my mind.
Well, what do you think about your uncle making music?
I think it's good that you like music.
Well, what do you want to tell the people about your uncle's new album, The Rise of Tim Roosevelt?
That you should listen to it.
Yeah, there we go. My style changed drastically. You know, I started off as very chaotic. I started off as just raw passion, with probably more so a lacking of substance. You know, I really wasn't as conscious or cognizant of a lot of what I would put into the music. And even if I was, it wasn't, I might have been conscious of it, but I would still push through with, you know, but this is what I want to do. Now I'm more thoughtful. Now when I create something, I want to make sure that each and every line is meaningful, and each and every line is, I guess, in line with what I'm trying to create and the message that I'm trying to portray, and make sure that it's all around just me. Before, it would be like almost like a doppelganger that would come out and like, yo, but we're sad right now. We gotta let the world know how sad we are. Now it's like, okay, I'm sad right now. And I do, to a certain degree, want to reflect and let the world see that I'm sad. But I also want to put solutions out into the air. And I also want to showcase that I'm working through this sadness, opposed to just sitting stagnant in it and festering in it and creating this, you know, toxic environment because of my sadness. Again, it's all part of growth.
Okay, people, second to last day of recording for the Tim Roosevelt project. Today is day, I have no idea at this point, but ideally it could be the last. It just depends on how much we get done. We got 5 hours, 3 songs already demoed out that just need to be recorded and mixed. It might bleed into the Wednesday session, which that's fine. That's why I booked the Wednesday session, but we're reaching the climax of this arc in the story, so to speak. We've got a lot of ground covered, and I'm very happy. I'm not gonna lie, I'm very happy, very proud of myself that I've stuck it out all the way through. Again, we're not finished. We're almost there at the finish line, but we're not quite finished. We still have a few more things to accomplish this week, but this has been an incredible journey, an incredible experience of, you know, kind of testing yourself in so many different levels. Discipline is one of them. Like, yo, do I have the discipline to get an album done? Do I have the discipline to put in the time that I put in, to put in the effort, to put in the constant movement and whatnot? So it's been just one hell of a journey, you know what I'm saying? Seeing my own growth and seeing my own healing has been phenomenal, to say the least. It's been life-changing. You know, I said it a year ago before this project really took off that the time is now. The time is now. And yeah, let's head on over to the stew and get cooking to wrap this up.
What are your favorite and least favorite parts of professional art?
I guess the business is the least favorite, if I'm going to be honest. Yeah, let's start off with the downsides or the negative, and we'll work our way up. Just the business side of things, oftentimes trying to make stuff happen, trying to tie in business, because a lot of times that goes into the marketing, and sometimes the marketing of what you've created, you know, you always want to match, you never want to mislead, you always want to match whatever it is that you've created. You want the marketing, you want all of those other things to line up, and sometimes, you know, especially depending on where you're collaborating with, who you're working with, visions don't always align, so then it kind of becomes, you know, a mess. And yeah, those are really just the business part of things. Can be a Debbie Downer, but the good side of it is, you know, having the opportunity to reach bigger audiences, you know, whatever it may be, whether it be that, you know, you got one of your songs on a TV show, or you know, you collaborated with this company, whatever it may be. It's always awesome to be able to reach new people and get the response and see what people are thinking about what you've created. And then at the same time, if you could help a person or two along the way, that's even better.
What have critics said about your work?
As far as just in general, the first project, I have for the most part, a core base. My base really loves my music. They rock with where I've gone and where I'm going with it. I've definitely got a lot of positive feedback in terms of where my sound is right now, opposed to where it was. So for the most part, things are starting to be on the uprise, just like everybody else. When you're early on into your music, you're not, you know, not everybody is the Beatles that seem like an overnight success, although an overnight success is not overnight. That's a lot of behind the scenes work that takes a very long time. But yeah, I've grown a lot, and I think this project reflects how much I've grown, and I think the people will be able to speak for themselves. Honestly, for me, I feel like I wouldn't say it's integral, but I do feel like when I'm alone, I work very well. I feel like as long as I'm in a good state of mind, as long as I'm, for the most part, comfortable, and even at times when I'm uncomfortable, it's okay. But I feel like when I'm alone, for whatever reason, I'm kind of like Batman. Like, I could rock with a group all day, but for the most part, when I'm in the back cave on my own, left to my own devices, I honestly come up with some pretty cool stuff. If I do say so myself, pretty awesome work. I wouldn't say it's integral, but it's probably preferred that when I'm deep in creation, I like the solitude, because, you know, sometimes sitting in a dark room will lead you to the light.
Describe the best piece of art you've created.
Well, outside of my daughter, I think I did a pretty good job over there. I think this body of work is my best piece of work to date. You know, 13 tracks. I think every single track helps to provide something to the overall narrative and the overall vision and the overall objective of this project. From balance to love movie, it just kind of all adds something to the experience, because this whole experience is more than just like, it's an album, but I feel like it's a journey for the broken, a journey for the hurt, and a journey for the people that are trying to heal. Because it's not just like, let me lure in these people that are going through stuff. Like, yeah, I absolutely want to bring those people in, but it's to, you go in from track 1 and you leave in track 13, kind of feeling maybe you have a new perspective on things, maybe you have a new outlook on things, and maybe you might be able to utilize this to grow. So I definitely think that this project is the best thing that I've created to date in terms of my music. Probably off the album, some of my favorites, some of my personal favorites is the lead single, Day Ones. I absolutely love that song. That record is a dedication to a few people that I've lost in my life. It's I'm sorry.
Are you filming me? Well, if you are, this is the final day of the Tim Roosevelt project. Don't know why I'm whispering. I'm in a booth. It's meant to be loud. But yeah, we're recording the record Love Movie. I hope this one makes it onto the album because, there might be some last minute cuts, but I got my lyrics here. I got the reference queued up. Engineer is going to do something real quick and we're going to get started. But yeah, damn, I ain't gonna lie. Is it really like... I can't believe, is it actually really shooting? Hopefully it's shooting. Maybe you can see when I'm moving. Never can I lie to the beauty. Never can I hide what I'm doing. Maybe our love is a movie. Maybe our love is a movie. Maybe our love is a movie. Never can I hide what I'm doing. Maybe our love is a movie.
So who are you?
My name is Kaylee.
And what is your relation to Tim Roosevelt?
I'm his niece.
Hey, okay. How long ago was the first time you heard your uncle make music?
I think it was a Time After Time. And I sat there listening to it, and it did have some words. Like, you'll sit there and you'll, like, really think about it. Like, because he really did put some interesting words in there, like, to the song. You'll sit there and it's about your life and stuff. Not your life, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. What do you think about his album cover right there?
I think, like, he's flying, like.
He's rising!
Like, the blue rose, everything.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Okay, do you like music? Do you like making music?
I sat there on my phone, there's some apps where you could create music and stuff, and I've tried, but, beginning, like he said in his parts, you won't be great, but you'll get there.
Okay, so what, you want to rap, sing? What are you trying to do?
Kind of both, like, want to try new stuff, so a mix.
Okay. Well, anything else you want to say?
Tim Roosevelt.
Yeah, as a whole, I really hope you enjoy this project. I hope you enjoy the rise of Tim Roosevelt. I've been a figure on the interwebs for many years. Some may know me from my work as Forever World, talking about anime and manga, Japanese comic books and cartoons. Others may know me for my music. But whatever you know me from, I just hope if you watch this entire thing, the one thing that you know most about me is that I want people to heal and I want people to be happy. And if it's corny, then we corny out here, fam. That's just what it is, because the world needs that. And I'm going to be that little blip on the screen that is like, you can't ignore. So look out for me. We here, the rise of Tim Roosevelt, baby. Let's go.
Someone once told me, you don't know how much pain you're in until you're not anymore. When I first heard that statement, to be honest, I thought it was morbid. But it kind of made me question how much pain people sustain in their day-to-day lives without even knowing it. If life is pain, then what's the alternative? Overall, some might chalk the saying up to a pessimistic outlook on life. But what if there's more to it? Regardless, growth, healing, changing, they're all words. But once you put them into action, it becomes magic. And it's at that moment you can see the growth. You can see the rise.
That's a wrap. Clean up this set. Show's over, folks. Until the next time. Off with it, lads. This has been a movie. Now, I'm not sure if we'll be able to fit one more in or not. That's what she said, but no, sorry. Yeah, that was how you get a record done. That's how you do it.
Tell me that you love me now. Tell me that you need me now. Tell me that I'm bugging now. Tell me that you love me now. Tell me that you need me. Tell me you believe me. Tell me that it's all real. Tell me this is how you feel. Even if they say no, that's okay. I'd rather have rejection better than a false perception. Scared of starting over, hold up, but the start is the beginning. There will always be losses, take them, then you start the winning. Yes, it'll be hard, nothing worth fighting for ever made it easy. If you want it, gotta get it, can't forget it, can't neglect it. Even if it means a headache, take a gamble with the feels, destroy and rebuild. Akasatana, hamayarawa. But in the end, it always ends with the end. So let's not pretend, we can always start anew, we can do it again. Akasatana, hamayarawa. But in the end, it always ends with the end. So let's not pretend, we can always start anew, we can do it again. I know you're feeling like this is it. I know your doubts got you in a grip. I know you're feeling like where is there to run to? Nobody to run to, and running has become you. Running's not the answer you've been looking for. Trapped in the cycle, you've been running more. Keep running and you're bound to make a misstep. Stop running from yourself, it is senseless. Up last is first and up first is last. So while you steady nervous, you could be working at whatever that you're trying to do. Homie, I am living proof. Do what needs to be done, then you see it through. I done took my losses, I done took my L's. I done bled, shed tears, and I'm still here. If it needs to be destroyed, break through fear, it'll all heal, destroy and rebuild. Akasatana, hamayarawa. But in the end, it always ends with the end. So let's not pretend, we can always start anew, we can do it again. Akasatana, hamayarawa. But in the end, it always ends with the end. So let's not pretend, we can always start anew, we can do it again.